This video is sponsored by Skillshare. The first 1,000 people who use the link in my description will receive a 1-month free trial to Skillshare Premium. Arguably the draw of Microsoft's Game Pass is the wealth of massive AAA games now available on demand, minus the AAA price tag. But lately I've actually been thinking that the real positive impact of the service will be felt in the indie scene. You lure players in with the promise of this Netflix of high-end gaming, but while we're still having to download these games in order to play them, these smaller titles are much better suited to this try-it-and-see approach, avoiding massive file sizes and the excessive download times that come with them, while also tending to favour a purer mechanical design that lets you get in and out without having to commit to a full-blown purchase or massive story experience. And the reason I feel I can say this with some confidence is that, well, I've barely played any AAA games on Game Pass for the many months I've paid for it. Conversely, the absurd amount of time I've put into a game like Descenders makes all of that feel totally worthwhile. It makes me believe in the promise of this service. It's the thing that will get me to stick around and check out other games at this level that I might not have given a chance before. Because if it wasn't clear by this point, I love this game. And considering the praise I've showered on games like Pro Skater and Trackmania in the past, it might not be difficult to see why. I definitely gravitate towards these more arcadey games centered around making movement feel as good as possible. But there's something different about Descenders. It's harder to pin down in that way than those other titles. See, Descenders isn't really a competition against others. It's not really about getting a higher score than anyone else, a la Tony Hawk. It's not even a time trial like Trackmania necessarily. It can be any or all of those things should you so wish to engage with the game in that way. There are tricks and loose scoring systems. It is ostensibly a social experience, replete with leaderboards and daft cosmetic loot for you to wear as you flail about the lobby area. But at the end of the day, it's all in the title. This game is about getting from the top of the hill to the bottom of the hill, and how you do that is seemingly entirely on your own terms. Its many courses, unless specifically an off-road environment, have very clearly defined paths leading to the finish, but there's nothing stopping you going off-road, missing checkpoints entirely. Same with the game's stunts. Every single ramp or obstacle can be avoided or nullified by simply slowing down and going around if you so choose. As long as you cross that finish line, you're good. So then, what's the point of it all? There's relaxing, there's mechanical purity for sure, but what stops Descenders from just becoming aimless? Well, it's a couple of things, but it mainly revolves around that question of, yeah, you could go off-road, but are you able or willing to handle the utterly terrifying consequences of doing so? Because if I had to pick the first thing that really defines this game, its core that ends up having a real knock-on effect on its larger design, it's that Descenders can be scarily fast. I'm serious, I'm not sure the last time I played a game that so foregrounded just how fast I was careening down its tracks. A combination of the tremor-like rumble surging through the controller into your hands as the gravel beneath your wheels is so forcefully flung behind you, as well as the general shakiness of it all. Not just the screen shudders, but the oh-so-precarious wobbling of your rider. Indeed, speed in this game is as truly frightening as it is exciting, representing a perilous sacrifice of control. One slip-up, one slight unintended nudge of the stick when the game is moving at these speeds is enough to send you careening off the track, leading to a palm-sweatingly tense game of damage control, utilising what little manoeuvrability you still have in attempting to swing your rider around the previously innocuous trees and rocks that now spell catastrophe. There's that real feeling of your stomach dropping through the floor as you fly off a mountaintop and realise just how far you've got to fall, but simultaneously managing to regain that control after cascading so far and so fast is a delight like no other. That feeling of not knowing exactly how you made it, going purely off of instinct. Learning to properly control your speed is a truly exhilarating process, and it's a process the game incentivizes you to get to grips with. See, the other big selling point of Descenders is its procedural course generation, using basic building blocks of a few different environments to construct a new track every time you hit go. On its own, this procedural generation is robust. I've yet to feel any kind of stagnancy in these layouts over my several hours of play, but the benefits of this approach are most keenly felt and importantly emphasised in the game's campaign mode, seeing you progress through a gauntlet of maps to get to the boss track at the end, usually a massive jump to top things off. Again, it's already varied enough, with challenge modifiers as diverse as completing the tracks in first-person view to not having a track at all, or navigating fog or a sandstorm, traversing the dense array of obstacles with limited visibility. But the cherry on top of all of this originates from the mode's health system. Bales in campaign mode cost you points that will eventually lead to a game over, with those falls at higher speeds costing more. This is alleviated, however, with the random objective that will spin at the start of every map. These can range from your typical do 2 backflips or whatever, right through to ones that completely change your approach to these courses, and completing them refills one of your health points, an increasingly precious commodity as you get further into each environment. Rolling an objective like get to the bottom without hitting the brake button sees you more carefully trying to manage your momentum so as not to get too out of control, requiring you to instead gently apply a skid to weave around corners. It turns what would normally be a fairly breezy run into a much more frantic endeavour, as you inevitably hit a massive slope and things go quite literally off the rails. It's a frenzy amplified by the similar but functionally distinct objective of not letting go of the accelerator, requiring you to give yourself over fully to oblivion and pray that you make it to the bottom in one piece. And again, it all comes back to you and how you want to deal with these problems. You might need the health, but how much health are you risking by pursuing these more dangerous objectives? Perhaps it's better to cut your losses, sacrificing the security of points in the bank for the ability to more cautiously approach what could be completely crazy and unpredictable obstacles. And this is the true beauty of Descenders as I see it. It's the duality of the game's core possessing that comforting mechanical purity, that zen-like feeling of repeating a process and gradually getting better at it, as well as the shifting structure of the maps and objectives, that constant battle of risk versus reward that greets you at every corner you turn, that never lets you get too comfortable, keeping you on your toes and ensuring that that play experience remains totally fresh, reflective of its superb liquid drum and bass soundtrack that I am a complete sucker for in these kinds of pure racing games. It's at once ambient, chilled out and sparse in its orchestration, while maintaining that constant speed, that urgency that drives everything forward. And in a similar vein, let me be direct here. If, like me, you struggle with the option paralysis a service like Game Pass provides, and are looking for a reason to keep that subscription going, believe me, check out Descenders. This is quickly becoming a real favourite of mine, and I am so glad that I didn't let this slip under the radar for any longer than it already did. And speaking of not letting things slip under the radar, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community for creative and curious people. Explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity with Skillshare's inspiring online classes on topics including illustration, photography, video design, and more. Do you enjoy the speed of Descenders but find it difficult to keep up with everything else going on in your life? Then you might find Thomas Frank's Productivity Masterclass Create a Custom System That Works particularly useful. It's a remarkably accessible class that emphasises making small changes that will have a big impact on your routine, whatever it is you're setting out to do. What's more, Skillshare offers classes designed for real life and all the circumstances that come with it. These lessons can help you stay inspired, express yourself, and introduce you to a community of millions. And because Skillshare is sponsoring this video, the first 1,000 people who use the link in my description will receive a 1-month free trial to Skillshare Premium, so there's no risk to checking it out for yourself, and you'll really be helping out the channel in the process. Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring the video, and I hope you all enjoyed this piece on Descenders. Thanks a lot for watching. If you liked the video, you can really help the channel by clicking the corresponding button, as well as subscribing. I'm also going to be streaming a lot more in the near future, so be sure to follow me at twitch.tv/writingongames to be updated when I'm going live. The streams so far have been a lot of fun. And check out my podcast in the description too. I'd also like to thank my patrons here. These videos simply would not exist without your support, and I really do mean that. If you've enjoyed any of the videos I've put out and want to help the channel continue so I can keep making more, you can directly help out as well as get things like early access to completely ad-free video uploads by heading to patreon.com/writingongames and pledging only what you feel comfortable with. I am forever thankful for your support in whatever form it takes. Special thanks go to Mark B. Writing, Artyom Vitsyuk, Shardfire, Spike Jones, Jesse Ryan, Dallas Keane, Timothy Jones, Charlie Kimball, Tom Webster, Tommy Carver Chaplin, Winter, David Björk, Lucas, Bryce Snyder, Dr. Motorcycle, The Nameless Guy, Henry Mielek, Hebe Amore, Leah Chinello, Ruth Knapman, Nicholas Villeneuve, Captain Knusprig, Danis Sikauskis, Jordan Midler, Max Cohen, and Charlie Yang. And with that, this has been another episode of Writing on Games. Thank you all so much for watching, stay safe, and I will see you all next time.